back, boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, to the grand finals here for the $500 minimum 4v4 Search and Destroy for November 7th. We've got Binksta, we've got Enigma6. We're loading here toward map 1 here on Arden Forest, and it's time to get this thing going. Bevils finding first blood here to start things off. Abnormal responding, and of course we're looking on there with Lord Boogeyman himself, aka the man, General. Of course, if you are looking at this Enigma6 lineup saying, well, what exactly happened to the team? Is this a new squad? It actually is, yes. Enigma6 totally kind of rebranded when it came to the roster post-Infinite Warfare and now pre-World War II, where they ended up, of course, picking up the group of Bevils, Decimate, along with Dashy. Of course, Dashy most notably playing for a few teams, of course, being known as straight ripping toward the end of the Infinite Warfare season, kind of being known as an S&D star, kind of coming into his own, and was quickly picked up by some top-level teams, and obviously they realized his potential. And now finds himself on a fantastic Enigma6 team, along with guys who were kind of in his position only just a few short months ago in Bevils and Decimate. And this is kind of one of the first organizations who kind of not necessarily took a risk, because it is kind of some type of risk, I think it's fair to say. But one of the first teams to kind of take that task on, as you're going to see Dashy find a nice quick scope there onto Vast. They were one of the first organizations to really pick up the S&D players and kind of put them on an organization and say, all right, we're investing in you. This is your time. We think that you guys are talented. We don't think it's just a fluke that you guys are good online or anything like that. They really took the full-on task to put this group together alongside of General, like I said. So releasing Proto, releasing Cade, releasing Royalty. Of course, we've been able to see a few players kind of go their different directions. And Enigma6, one of their first times, at least from what I've been able to see, their full squad as a group being played in a competitive setting. As, of course, round by round, things do start to kick off. Looks like it is going to be CryticuL, the man with the sniper rifle in the back lines. Did some work with that in their last series, their Semi versus Yeppers, where they ended up making a comeback, winning the last two maps. Finds one. Nice responding shot there coming in from Dashy, as the A site seems to be the one to hit, at least for both of these squads. This one is kind of an interesting pick, Arden Forest is. It's kind of a overall map that you can kind of go for either bomb site. It's not really unorthodox to see either one get rocked or get used. I would say probably the B site is the more preferred of the two, but of course, it's kind of a personal preference. But nice responding kills coming in. Of course, they're normally going to give that one over toward Vast. They can actually rock double Molotovs. That's a very unselfish play coming in from Abnormal, as they will now have two Molotovs to work with now. But definitely could have earned a secondary streak, but they realized Molotovs are more important, and they don't really want to take the risk of him dropping and then the mollies not being available. So with that, it will be the side of Binksta with the one-round advantage. And this is something to mention when it comes down to this series. I think it's fair to say that, at least based on prior experiences, as two kills come in immediately there from DEEMONIKS and CryticuL. Funny enough, I was getting ready to mention the kind of underdog story for Binksta. Not super well-known players when it comes down to them being in this final versus a group like the Enigma6 team. This is going to be a trek for them. This is going to be a very difficult battle. Enigma6 by no means a team that you can walk over, as Enigma6 actually took out the side of Exo Season, which consists of Simp, Illy, Turnup, and Celium. And they won that one in map 3. And in both maps, those closed out in round 9. This team is great, Enigma6, at least so far in this tournament. We'll see how Binksta can respond. CryticuL with that sniper rifle, not the best weapon to have, especially when you're trying to defend a close quarter bomb site like this one in Cabin. DEEMONIKS needing to make a play. CryticuL in the backlines needs to have that machine pistol out, and obviously realizes just one toward his right. And if he plays his card right, this could be his round. And yes, they're going to find both. None of them drop, and that's great for streaks. That's great for the round, and now they have a 2-round advantage. And I'm not exactly sure how General in that situation didn't spot CryticuL. There were two different opportunities where CryticuL kind of made his position known. He kind of backed out, and I think CryticuL was a little bit surprised that he has an easy flank here with that machine pistol on the backlines. So major props to him for staying up, for playing passive, not pulling out that sniper rifle too aggressively. And those first two picks, a nade, along with the early snipe, make things awkward for E6. And now E6 finds themselves with their backs against the wall here early. They can't afford to lose many more rounds, especially in such quick succession. However, finding the first blood on Vast, that's big, and you're going to see E6 start to focus their attention over toward B. First time so far in this map here on Arden Forest. And Abnormal just behind this wall could make a huge play. Timing going to be a major factor. And it seems like things will starting to fade if you are the side of Binksta, as E6 will respond valiantly. As it will be Bevils here in the final kill cam. PPSH, critical quick scopes at close, very difficult to hit, as they will not follow through. And Bevils is actually a guy that I heard about quite a bit during Black Ops 3. Of course, his name started to rise to the occasion through Infinite Warfare, and him and Decimate. Both names kind of flying around in the competitive scene. Saw quite a few clips on Reddit as well. And it's awesome to see guys like this really get their opportunity, really getting the opportunity to kind of make a name for themselves when it comes into the competitive scene. And Respawn, going to be big. Of course, they prefer the search and destroy modes as far as their history. That's where they dominate in. As for all 8 players in this lobby, search and destroy is their playground. Maybe excluding General. General is a slaying mastermind. Not that he's not good at search and destroy, but it's not necessarily like his overall end-all be-all best game mode. But General, very talented player as well. Very surprised to actually see him be rocking the kind of slower AR, the FG42. Kind of just depends on personal preference. Both weapons very good between the BAR, STG-44, and the FG, but it seems that the BAR and FG are kind of the 2 assault rifles to go to. As it will be CryticuL who drops now. It will be DEEMONIKS last alive. Dashy finding one on CryticuL, and awkward spot, 1 versus 3, and nice turn on there. But one that is not going to go fully through as E6 starts to respond. But one thing that I was talking about with General is that this guy, since AW, even being on the old Onslaught team, which later turned into E6, was always a very talented player. And this is one thing that I know a lot of casters are kind of bringing up, analysts as well, was that this guy can just get a group together that just works. I mean, he can be an unbelievable slayer. I mean, he can absolutely go off. And, of course, General being Lord Boogeyman, not exactly sure the gamer tag choice, but I respect it. But this guy just has the ability to go off, and I'm really looking forward to seeing his performance when it comes down to boots on the ground. Of course, his first competitive title in a boots game mode, or boots game, excuse me, being, like I said, most notably known back in AW with Onslaught or E6. But, you know, at times, played incredibly strong during IW. I know he had, toward the ending of the season, a little bit of slower modes. I started to be able to cast over some of his tournaments and whatnot. And it seems that he would play well. It was just that the team couldn't all play to their best ability as a group at the same time. That's the thing. That's the name of the game mode. Consistency is key. And that could have been the reason maybe for the switch-up, potentially. Was a huge fan of the combination of him and Proto, along with him and Royalty. Of course, Royalty and Proto now teaming together, along with Gunjar and Exotic for Team Canada is what I'm really calling them. They're all from Canada. Not that that's their official name, but they actually competed in a tournament the other day. I think that might have been the Prime, and they ended up getting knocked out, I think, one of our first or earlier rounds, which is kind of unfortunate, but still curious to see how all these players do. Of course, as the roster shuffle for World War II starts to fade, teams start to form, and strategies begin as well. Speaking of strategies, we'll see how Abnormal and co from the side of Binksta can try to retake this site, especially with having a man up. Abnormal checking the wrong side, and it looks like DEEMONIKS will drop as well. CryticuL saying, hey guys, you're going to leave it all up to me with a sniper rifle? Really? I got to do this by myself? In general, quick peek, only for about a half a second, and 2 shots are already fired in the side of CryticuL there. And good overall consistent shots there from General. Peeks the right angle, and if you're General in that spot, you really can't afford to lose that gunfight, because if you do not immediately pick that one off, granted you have 25 seconds left to work with, but what's the call? Do you rush forward? Do you try and hang back? Do you try to play the time? Would have been an awkward round, but one experience that General does not have to worry about. Now, of course, as round 7 fades, round 8 now coming up. Sniper rifle in hand, I believe, for CryticuL. Watching over for Abnormal, as we've been seeing a lot of these bomb carriers actually rushing in here toward cave, which I personally like quite a bit. A very nice strategy to have. Kind of free him up, and it looks like he does have that Molotov as well. That one's going to be awkward for Bevils, because he's obviously going to feel the flames and already is a tad weak at that. Playing very strong in this game. E6 can't afford to lose Bevils, especially being in the position that he's in. And of course, Decimator, realizing such, decides to hop through cut and does the damage needed to at least hold off the push for now, as the side of Binksta begins to Maybe go back to the drawing board, essentially. Go back to the planning. Shots coming in at all angles, and DEEMONIKS is able to find one before dropping to Bevils. And just like that, abnormal 1 versus 3, and he's going to fly up in the air as Dashy's going to get a nice reaction kill. As this one's now at 5 rounds to 3. E6 with the advantage on map point here for our first one in this final. And of course, as we do get ready to load in, I want to take a look at the scorecard, which will be in your guys' top right. As it is currently this Bevils leading at 8 and 5, just below him, Decimator at 7 and 6. Of course, take a look at the overhead camera. I'm seeing what the overall idea is for Bevils and co. It looks like a pretty standard play lingering through mid-map right now is general. So, offensive side, Dashy up close. Can't finish that one off, but thankfully a trade is there. Decimator for the pickup finds 2 early on in the round. FG42 on this B-bomb site, clearing things out, looking like Rambo. Not necessarily Rambo Ray, but the, you know, the movie Rambo. CryticuL falls, and now it's up to DEEMONIKS. 1 versus 3 just to try and force another round, and none of that is going to take place. Yet again, another 6-3 ending score, and one that is going to go E6's way. Personally, not at all a surprising result, in my opinion, coming into this series. Just from the overall stature, the overall record of this E6 crew in the past. Of course, what this team really looks like on paper is incredibly scary. And also the fact that they end up taking out Exo Season, who is a very solid lineup as well, and beating them in map 3 was no easy task whatsoever. So, of course, as map number 1 does fade, we're now looking at map number 2, which would be S&D on Gibraltar, which I'm very curious to see how that one does play out, of course, for tonight. Could be potentially our final map. And Gibraltar, to me, it's interesting, to say the least. Expect to see quite a few FMJ ARs. You're going to see quite a few bars, maybe even the FG42 being brought up from both Decimator and General. I know we've already seen that tonight, but it's going to be interesting to see. It's going to be interesting to see, especially for the side of Binksta, I think it's fair to say. CryticuL, he's been the guy with the sniper rifle. Granted, he's been doing some work. I know they probably would really like to have like a USS Texas or maybe even a St. Marie Dumont, just because that kind of more fits their play style. The SMGs up close, the sniper at range. That's where they were really kind of hurting, the side of Yeppers in their last series, was kind of having that both kind of combination. The thing about E6 is that they can do that too. They can kind of have the SMGs at close. They can have the sniper duels with Dashy in the back. They have no problem kind of going up toe-to-toe with you in that particular game mode. Ladies and gentlemen, for potentially the final time. It is the finals here of the $500 minimum 4v4 Search and Destroy for November 7th. We've got Binksta and we've got Enigma6 going up against one another here on 4. Some Gibraltar Search and Destroy. Of course, like I said, it was E6 who took map number 1 on Arden Forest, 6 rounds to 3. And now we're hopping in here, like I said, toward map 2. How will things play out? As it will be the side of Binksta on attack. As player number 2. Currently very close toward that bomb. DEEMONIKS just above him, actually, at the moment, as 2 kills get found. Both from General, trying to maybe even go for the ace. Turns on DEEMONIKS, potentially. Only gets hit markers, but finishes him off in the end anyway. Vast trying to even things out a little bit. Has to do a little bit more work than that, but major play there coming in from General. A.K.A., you see him there, Lord Boogeyman. Binksta having no response, having no answers. Slaying just too great in that first round. And that was exactly the case in map 1 as well. Of course, got to stay on board with the man himself, General. Fantastic player. Of course, became of age for the Call of Duty World League not too long ago. Turning the age of 18. And has surrounded himself with some very talented young players. Speaking of young players, Dashy being one of them, made a name for himself throughout Infinite Warfare and doing some work here in some World War II as well. Finds first blood. That one on CryticuL. Very important at that. And Fast also drops Decimator doing that. Smoke is out, it looks like. So Smoke's being rocked here from the side of E6 here on this A site turret. And that's going to make things pretty awkward. If you are the offensive team, it's very important getting in this exact building. Inside of comms is huge. And the fact that E6 obviously realizes such, they actually smoke the bomb to make things pretty difficult. Because if you are the side of Binksta, having comms control is huge because you obviously have control of a number of different areas. You obviously have control over the bomb site, as long as you can see, of course. And you also have control over a potential flank that could come in. And then also toward that really big cave window. So being able to lock down all three of those entry points is huge. And the fact that the smoke was rocked just totally kind of ignores that little advantage that the side of Binksta could have had. Of course, not having full man count would most likely be a cause of the round loss. However, smart play there coming in from E6. I was actually talking a little bit earlier. We were discussing with production and crew about smokes when it comes down to World War II, how important they really are going to be, not just in search and destroy, but even in respawns as well. S&D, it's a new thing. Boots on the ground, S&D versus jetpacks plays totally different. Positioning, incredibly important. And when movement can't necessarily save you, maybe a smoke or a stun, tacticals, lethals, any equipment of that can definitely help save you, but DEEMONIKS definitely going to need some saving, no pun intended, of course, but no longer having his teammates around as Decimator and Bevils. Decimator yet to die, currently flawless at 4-0. Would love to add more toward his streaks. And if you're DEEMONIKS in this situation, it's really just trying to pick people off before those streaks even occur. Spawning one on Bevils, and he should be dead to rights here very shortly. Rocks the machine pistol, is able to stay alive. However, the challenge comes in at just the right moment. And if you're DEEMONIKS in that situation, it's really, all right, I found this kill. Where do I move to now? And it's just rather unfortunate positioning as Decimator, kind of a no man's land as he was at a very high up angle, somewhat chest-high cover, is able to finish off him in the end. So 3 rounds down, 3 rounds gone toward the side of E6, and it's been a pretty much dominated show here from the man Decimator himself. 5-0. Bevils going to be grabbing the bomb, and you got to expect most likely a smoke to be thrown. And Bevils has that exact tactical in his back pocket. We'll see player number 7 actually. Dashy looking toward the opposite side, but if we do take a look at the mini-map right now, player number 2, which is going to be DEEMONIKS, watching at A, watching for that cross, as he's going to spot at least the side. Doesn't realize there's 2 players there. Has the nade to be tossed out. Is that going to affect Bevils in any way? Hit markers, but not much more than that. As we are going to see the bomb go down here. Of course, Vast falls on the stairs, as it's going to be left up now to DEEMONIKS. Coming now through bottom. CryticuL on the flank. This is a huge kill that he can find. Shuts down Decimator. Things looking more likely. And here comes DEEMONIKS on the opposite side. The pinch coming through. And now Dashy last alive. Finds one. Can he find the second? And yes, Dashy finding both exactly when he needs to. The 1 versus 2. As E6 not giving away any rounds. The young gun. Dashy doing work now on World War II. This guy finds a hat trick in this round, keeping the side of Binksta scoreless when it comes down to overall round count. This one looking to be over early. And if you are the side of Binksta, there's not a whole lot of positives to be looking at. Granted, it is a best of 3, so if you can make a comeback, at least there's only 1 more map remaining, but General doing his best to prevent that. The FG42 in the back, playing the back line and playing it well. One thing that I'm really excited about with this Enigma6 lineup is really to see Generals play. Of course, at least in my opinion, kind of can play a faster AR play style, but also has the ability to kind of just hang in the back as 3 fall and Vast last alive. At least he has a nice little camo there for his bar, but not much more for his troubles. Player toward the back line, tosses out the stun, and he ends up stunning himself. As much like that stun, the entire map so far has been a blur. As player number 6 in the back line is going to be Bevils. And that's going to work out in his favor as well. What a nice shot there coming in from Bevils. And that's just only a moment, only just 1 kill. The amount of highlight plays that E6 has had so far in this short round of Search and Destroy after just 5 quick rounds is insane. As this group is now going to be on tournament point here. As like I was talking about Lord Boogeyman, a.k.a. General, very excited to see his play coming into World War II. Of course, have been able to have been graced by the E6 lineup here. in this tournament, seeing their play. Of course, not really known for streaming their matches or really being high about showing their strategies and whatnot. Of course, awesome to see their play up to this point. DEEMONIKS spawning General, and General having none of it, holding his position well, tosses out the Molotov just to clear up the angle, and this is the role that he can play. Watching the back line, General ends up dropping in that situation, so nice play coming in from Vast, but at the same time, 2 players drop. DEEMONIKS finding 1, and now it's all up to Vast. 1 versus 2. Can he shut down Decimator? But no, Decimator! The exclamation on top as the tournament will come to a close. We get to witness a nice little end here as Decimator doing it big. He was obviously being shown in quite a few kill cams in his prior series, and none more important than that kill there, as a hot 6-0 will end us out for tonight's tournament. What a play they're coming in from E6 as they show total dominance, only giving away 3 rounds in our final 2 maps. Of course, you got to look at Decimator 8-2 to finish us off. Bevils 6-4, along with 3 plants. He ends up finishing off with 1,195 score overall. Awesome stuff. E6 looking to be a very strong contender when it comes into search and destroy tournaments for the future. And really excited to see this team perform when it comes down to, of course, major tournaments. Of course, CWL Dallas coming up. Really looking forward to seeing this team start to perform and play.